Okay, YouTube, how are you doing? Sam Bell here once again with another little solo etude that I put together. Hopefully you enjoyed the last one on AT's arpeggios, and I thought I'd continue on with some more kind of conceptual themed based etudes, and this one is on Lydian. It so happens I came up with this short riff and then I improvised a solo. I got my friend Jeff DeFonte to transcribe the solo because I've been extremely busy recently, so you'll be able to check out the tablature and the write-up for this on my website in the link below in the description to this video. So I really hope you enjoy that. So let's just take a look at some of the aspects of this riff. So I'm just going to go over to my main I've got the video set up here. We have this main riff. So there we are, that's the little riff that I came up with. I was a little bit out of tune on that improvised take, so I put loads of chorus and delay on. Pro tip. Anyway, moving over to the guitar neck here. So this is the idea, sort of roughly. Now what's going on here is I've got this chord over C. This is actually, I was thinking of this as an inversion of E minor 7 over C gives you C major 9, but then I inverted the E minor 7 quote unquote chord, so we now have, if that was an E, that would be flat 7 root 5th, but because we're over C, this becomes the 9th, 3rd, and then you've got the major 7th on top. And you can actually, you know, do this kind of double picking idea. There, just going from the 5th to the 6th degree over C. Right there, another inversion there of quote unquote E minor 7 because we're playing over C. That's technically, if we had C there, this would be the 3rd, the 5th, and the 9th. So these are just inversions of 7th chords being superimposed over different chords diatonically to create expensive sounding things. These are all very long words and things, but they're cool patterns that you can use over this chord. Just think of it that way. Okay, moving back to the guitar. To keep the I want to have some progression going, so then I go to A. Something like that. I sort of slide down, and that's when the solo starts up. And this was an improvised guitar solo, so I've not necessarily, the last one was more of a written solo. This was something completely off the cuff, so there's lots of free time elements, and because I'm not thinking too much about construction, I'm thinking more emotively in the moment, some of these phrases are interesting. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a bit of the video so you can hear the phrase I improvised. I've also got my transcription right next to me here, so I can reference that as we go through. And if you want to see this transcription that I'm looking at today here, you can see that on the blog on my website in the link below. Like I say, completely free. Just go on the link, and then there should be images of the tablature for the whole of this piece on there. So let's go over to the solo, and now I'm going to hit play. I'm just going to go back a bit so we can hear where I come in, just straight after that riff, into the first phase of the solo. So that's all over C. Let's see if I can actually get somewhere close. So I don't know actually what I'm doing, but right there, that's the kind of opening phrase. So C Lydian, that scale, it's a C major scale, but we raise the 4th. So that F sharp, the F is raised to F sharp. This is kind of like the classic scale you hear, like Joe Satriani and all these sort of shred virtuosos use, but it sounds really nice. You can land on any note in it and it sounds all right. Okay, so we're sliding. I like this idea of sliding into a note as my main target note. So that's the major 7th. I wasn't thinking necessarily about this too deeply, but really we're highlighting those two notes, the 9th fret on the D and the 5th fret on the D. But I'm going in, just have a nice little kind of almost Vi-esque phrase. So sliding in, doing a hammer on there. So sliding into 9, hammer, pull, slide down to 5. I think I do that a few times. Maybe I go down to... I might change around where I slide down to, I think, looking at the transcription here. But then I move up. When I'm doing this, I'm kind of underlying all the scalic notes. I'm seeing pentatonic boxes as well as my kind of main home. Now, C Lydian, for the theoretically minded, C Lydian is the 5th mode of G major, and G major is a relative major of E minor. And guitarists like to think of E minor pentatonic and then, just try and fit it over the chords. I know that I'm playing over C, so I'm highlighting chord tones. That's what I'd like to, or mindfully, using them as a way of avoiding or hitting them to create tension and release. But the pentatonic is a nice sort of box that fits around all of that for phrasing. So I've also got the E minor, quote unquote, pentatonic kind of mapped out as I'm playing this as well in my head. If I was honest with you about how I'm kind of looking, like it's not thinking, it's just sort of at the back of my mind, it's there. And I'm looking at the E minor pentatonic, I guess, on one string. So it's on one string there. Over that backing track, that's going to sound cool. So, sorry, but I was doing it on the D string there. To see what you can get out of that, but mistakes are all completely free of charge as well. So that's what's happening over that C, and then it goes to A, and I'm not thinking, this is all diatonic. So when it goes to A, technically it's A Dorian, that 2-chord sound on the backing track. Let's just have a listen to the phrase I play. I think it's pentatonic. Let's have a listen. It might be E minor pentatonic for this. So coming out of that single string idea, I contrast it with some very straightforward pentatonic phrasing. So all of that was minor pentatonic. Let's just have a look at that phrase. I've got it transcribed here, so it would be something like this. Something along those lines. So E minor pentatonic, we're just starting in position 3. Like that, and then we're doing a something like that. That's what's being transcribed, a little hammer on. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like to get these little, wherever there's a little semitone in the scale, see if you can get a little bit of a trill going on. If you've got a basic melody, whatever you can think of, really. I'm sure there's a lot more better ones than that you can do. But you can, this is just, I'm just giving you stuff to mess with, really. But that is just an E minor pentatonic phrase. Let's hear that one more time. So. And then, let's just go back over that previously. There's a little bit of an interesting concept going on here. So you might have heard of superimposition, where you play different pentatonics over a different key. A lot of what I do is kind of, superimpositions of different ideas. So that was definitely something that was kind of in my playing. I've got loads of stuff about this kind of idea in my book, Pentatonic Rock Concepts. Link for it in the description. I put it in the blog as well. You can get it in PDF or in paper format from Amazon. And you also help support me by buying that book. But I've got lots of lines like that. And this is one of the kind of classic patterns that I might go to. And what's going on? Let me just play. I'll see if I can follow the tab. So, I've not actually prepped this. I've just, I've improvised the solo, and now I'm looking at my transcription. So. Okay. That's the main sort of nugget there. Let's see if I do it slowly. So what's going on? So this is actually technically, I'm thinking B minor pentatonic. Now B minor pentatonic over your C Lydian gives you all the tasty notes. It gives you the, I think this is our root note here. That's the major 7. That's going to be the 9th. This 7th fret is going to be the 3rd. The 9th fret is going to be the sharp 11 or sharp 4. 6, major 7. Now, alongside that, I like to, with pentatonics, if you've followed my work for a while, you might notice I like playing 3-note per string and also 2-note per string pentatonics interchangeably. And I like to use a system called 2-1-2s. And it's a really nice way of breaking up your pentatonic scale. So this is actually positions 1 and 2 of B minor pentatonic. So this and those two positions of B minor over C to create a cool lick. Now what I'm doing is I'm kind of missing out the middle portion. So if I play this, you get a nice stretch there. Then we're going to go 1 on the D, 2 on the G, 1 on the E, 2 on the E. So we have 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can play that however you want to. I'm picking, hammering. There, if I go backwards, I'm kind of, using upstrokes to start each string. I just think that sounds pretty cool. So like that, and then we're moving up from the top. This is actually a little G major 7th arpeggio. G major 7 over our C Lydian. Root, major 7, 9, sharp 11. That's going to highlight those, but it's kind of just a pathway. I mean, I could, if this was in B minor, I'm making up stuff now and not playing it properly, but anyway, I don't edit these videos apart from where I have long gaps of silence where I'm trying to figure something out. So just hopefully you take these ideas and use of them, make them what you will. Okay, and then at this point the solo comes to an end, and Jeff DeFonte has written Free Time, and I clearly sort of go off the grid a bit here. That's kind of what my playing does, because it's just a bit, human is the main word I'm going to use for that. Okay, so back to listening. We're just going to go out at the end of that pentatonic phrase, and we'll listen to just this next bit. And I look really pleased and chuffed with myself, like I've done something really good, but it's just another solo. But anyway, yeah, we have this sort of little kind of fifths phrase, I think. So, what is it? So I'm just grabbing these fifths. Again, I'm probably more inclined to say that I was thinking in terms of these pentatonic areas. I mean, I'm kind of aware of the intervals, but really just going for a sound. It's quite a nice little lick. And then I really get free time there. But something I deliberately went for here is once I've done, I'm then doing like a kind of thirds in the scale, one of them little manoeuvres. But then I go for, oh, I've gone off the camera there. Now, something I've neglected in my playing. You know, you get these intervallic sequences. You could take any scale where you move up in, maybe, you know, you could take a scale pattern and move up in thirds or fourths or fifths, etc., or sixths. Yeah, it's a really good exercise because, you know, music is made up of intervals, and the more ways, if you're freer to play them on the guitar neck through whatever scales you're using, you're going to find you're able to actually execute those melodic jumps and be able to hear them and see them on a fretboard. But what I'm going for here is sevenths. And I like them because they kind of clash a bit. Diatonic sevenths in a key. Sounds pretty cool for kind of abstract chordal work, but also for melodies. It's quite a nice little phrase. So I think, what did I do here? I went. Like that, something along those lines. And then here it says I finish off with a bit of that pentatonic and one string kind of idea. But combining these ideas, these are all kind of elements really you can put in, but sevenths are pretty nice. I'm going up a seventh and down, up, down. So pretty useful kind of thing to practice just overall. I'm really into sort of things, you know, there's several aspects of practice I think are quite important. There's kind of learning from your favourite music and figuring it out and working out not just like how to play it, but being able to play it well and focus on the tone and the groove and the dynamics and, you know, understanding what it is you're playing and repurposing it into your own playing. That's really good for you. I think for us all, really, for me, myself, definitely. And then there's your technical practice, and your technical practice can be, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be crazy shred lines. I think sometimes it can just be, my voice went really weird then. It doesn't have to be crazy shred lines. It can be things like interval sequences for your scale patterns, different rhythms with those things, different combinations of those, really helpful. And arpeggios are, I guess I put that as well within the scales, like taking a scale and playing the diatonic. You know, the triads from that scale, for example, you know, or the sevenths. You know, those sort of things are just evergreen in terms of practicing because they're kind of, you know, things that are worthwhile playing on the guitar, in my personal opinion. And then the next thing is applying all that with actual, you know, improvisation or writing your own music, whatever your scenario is. And yeah. But anyway, I don't know what I'm going on about, really. I hope some of this is inspiring. Hopefully it gets you to pick up the guitar and mess around with some ideas. And I hope one of the things you can see is all the combinations of things. That solo, whether you like it or not, I'm not saying it's a, you know, I don't necessarily, it felt good at the time, and obviously I like it enough to share it with all of you, but it doesn't necessarily mean what I'm telling you is the kind of golden nuggets. You have to find that nugget yourself, and part of that is finding the elements that work for you. You know, you've got these different techniques, different approaches of playing over a chord and creating a riff, and they're all useful. There's many methods. I think Vic Rubin talks about, you know, there's no one method to doing anything. It's about listening and being open to what's available. And I think when we're playing over a track, rather than just forcing our kind of rhetoric over it, so to speak. We can listen to the track and see how we fit into it or what it's asking us to do. And that might sound very new age, but I don't really think it is. I think it's it's proper communication, it's proper art. It's it's playing, actually playing music by the very definition of play is curiosity, exploration, and having fun, and using the tools you've practiced and you have in your ears and hands and gear, and seeing what comes out of that. And that requires the most important skill, which is listening. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please, if you really like this, and please share it with your friends. Please give it a like, leave us a comment. What do you think? Is there anything you picked up? What's one of your takeaways from today's little video? Don't forget the tab is on my website in the blog for this particular lesson, and that's linked below. And I've also mentioned my book here. I'll link that in the blog as well. Creative Pentatonic Rock Concepts, I think. There's a link there. You search Sam Bell Pentatonic book on Amazon, you'll find it. And you'll be also helping me out. You'll be buying me food, really. You'll be supporting my livelihood, so I really appreciate it. But no pressure. If you just get a bit out of this lesson, then my work here is done. All right, take care. Have a wonderful few weeks. I'll see you in another 2 weeks for another etude. Take care.